From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, March 20 meeting of the Kern County Board of Supervisors. Madam Clerk, the Board will reconvene, and Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scrivener. Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mark Nations, would you please give us a report on actions taken during closed session? Oh, wait. We're going to do the flag salute first, Mark. Sorry, I threw you off there. We're going to do the flag salute and then have a moment of prayer, silence, and meditation. So please remain standing for that. The flag salute is going to be led by John Ramirez, one of our local Vietnam veterans. Mr. Ramirez, thank you for leading us this morning.
Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you, Mr. Ramirez, and thank you for your service to our country. Now, Mr. Nations, would you mind giving us a report on actions taken in closed session?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last Tuesday, the 13th, in the afternoon, item 55 was a closed session regarding the matter of Luna versus County of Kern. The board did meet in closed session on that matter. No reportable action was taken. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to deal with our consent agenda first this morning. There are copies of the agenda at the back of the room if you'd like to get one to be able to go through the items with us. Consent items are indicated by a CA above that number, that item number on the agenda on the printed page, and these items are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion. If a member of the audience wishes to comment or ask questions regarding an item or items that are on consent, they may do so prior to the vote being taken on the consent item or consent agenda. A member of the board may remove any item that they wish from the consent agenda, and it will be considered in a listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning any item before action is taken if that item is pulled. So consent items begin on page 2 of this morning's agenda. Items 1 and 2, then items 8 through 12. On page 3, items 15 through 19. On page 4, items 20 and 21, and then 23 through 28. On page 5, items 29 through 33, and then item 35. On page 6, items 36 through 42. On page 7, items 43 through 50. And on page 8, items 51 through 54. Do any members of the public wish to make comment about any item that are, or ask a question about anything that's on consent? I don't see anyone. And item number 34 is not on consent, but I'm going to announce now that it's going to be withdrawn from this morning's agenda by the department. So we'll not be dealing with item 34. If you're here for item 34, I thought you might want to know that so that you don't wait around because we're not going to discuss it because it's been pulled. Okay, I didn't see anybody from the public. Do any members of the board wish to make comment or pull an item from consent? And if not, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Couch.
Second.
Mr. Gleason, thank you. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Scrivener.
Thank you. We're going to have a few presentations this morning. The first is a resolution honoring Claudia Jonah, our public health officer, upon her retirement, and Supervisor Perez will do the presentation for that.
Thank you, Chairman. Motion on proclamation.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Scrivener.
Don't be shy. Good morning, Chairman and fellow supervisors. It's my pleasure to honor one of Kern County's dedicated public servants as we adopt this resolution honoring Dr. Claudia Jonah on her 29 years of service. My age, how nice. Dr. Jonah began her county career as a deputy public health officer in July 1988. 1988. Prior to that, Dr. Jonah was a family practice physician at Bakersfield Family Medical Center. After being promoted to assistant public health officer and serving as interim public health officer, Dr. Jonah was appointed to the County Public Health Office on March 31, 2009. During her tenure as County Public Health Officer, Dr. Jonah has served on the board of First 5 Kern for several years, has been a contributing member of the California Conference of Local Health Officers, and has been called upon to testify as an expert witness in cases involving valley fever. She has also been witness to many changes in the department and in the community and has adapted to serve the ever-changing needs of our health department. Her ability to identify and investigate health issues, provide our community's required personal health services, and ensure the provision of health care has been crucial in keeping our county healthy and safe. On March 31st, 2018, her employment anniversary, Dr. Jonah will retire after providing years of invaluable service to the citizens of Kern County. Decades, really. She will be missed, and we wish her the absolute best in her future endeavors. Chairman and members of the board, I join you today in honoring Dr. Jonah and offer her a congratulations on her retirement and the best wishes for her and her family. I would like to introduce the Director of Kern County Public Health, Mr. Matt Constantine, to speak more about Dr. Jonah. We also have a resolution here for you that Director will present to you, but Mr. Constantine, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm going to keep my comments brief and defer my time to Dr. Jonah, but 9 years ago this summer, our separate departments merged into one department, and I want to say publicly my thank you to Dr. Jonah on her patience and understanding as we created this new, leaner, more responsive public health department. Dr. Jonah has seen a lot in her years of service at public health, from our response on H1N1 to West Nile viruses, to training of different department heads, some very challenging budget years. But we've not only survived, we've come out more focused on improving the health of our community. So I'm going to turn my time over to Dr. Jonah.
The floor is yours. And of course, this lays out in more detail the hereas, whereas, all that good stuff.
Good morning, Dr. Jonah.
Put it together.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman Maggard and members of the board. I so appreciate this opportunity to come and to express my thanks for the wonderful opportunity I've had to serve your board, to serve the community here in Kern County with public health. I'm actually going to shorten my thoughts because I wanted to talk about just how we're going well into the future. It's bittersweet not to do something, not to continue to do something you've done for 29 years, but the department is in a good place. I so appreciate that in spite of all the challenges, Kern County does not take the position of we're going to cut back. We always figure out how to continue to go forward. It's just wonderful that as mandates come down, our department members figure out how to get it done. They don't moan and complain. They just go ahead and do it. And it's a real testament to just the nature and the kindness and the love in this community. I'm originally from Los Angeles, a transplant. I have appreciated how I've been embraced in the community, and enjoy that I'm going to be able to continue on at a little slower pace here. And I would like to introduce my cheerleaders here, my family that have come with me. My mother, Eliza Hyde. I always tell people that I am a physician because she never told me that I could not be one. My dad, Elmer Hyde. My sister, Dr. Ivy Key. And my dear, dear friend, Dr. Nathaniel Duffy, all from Los Angeles here to cheer me on. I have 2 daughters, 6 nieces, a nephew that are not here to share with me today, but they're rooting for me. I thank you so much for the opportunity to be a part of all the amazing things that have happened in Kern County. Probably the greatest stuff I can't even go into details about, and I will just leave it there. You see, I just totally skipped my notes. I actually had intended to come up here with a ream of paper to tell you how, okay, I'm going to go through the last 29 years, but thank you all so much.
Dr. Jonah?
Hold the resume. That's
Right, we're going to surround Dr. Jonah here.
Come on over, everyone.
Dr. Jonah?
Yes.
We just want to say thank you and congratulations on a great career. Your parents must be very, very proud of you and your whole family. So we're happy for you about that. I know you're a person of deep faith, and I hope God blesses you with a long and meaningful and purposeful retirement. You know, just because you retire doesn't mean you don't still serve a purpose, right? We have a purpose-driven life. So God bless you. Hope that everything goes well for you, and we want to thank you for all the things that you've done for us.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye-bye. Next is item number 4, a proclamation proclaiming April 8 through 13 as Crime Victims' Rights Week in Kern County, and Supervisor Couch is going to make this presentation.
Motion on the proclamation.
Thank you. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Scribner.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. It's my pleasure today to present this proclamation to our district attorney, Lisa Green. She has been very involved in this particular event for a very long time. And I want to thank her for, she's ending her, I didn't prepare to do this, but you know, this is her last year of service to Kern County, and we should take whatever chance we have when we're in front of the public to just thank her for her years of service to the county. I'm sure we'll do that later in a more formal manner, but it's nice to mention that when we have her here. I'll read the proclamation and I'll turn it over to the district attorney. I'm sure she has some comments for us. The proclamation reads, the Board of Supervisors, County of Kern, State of California, has officially proclaimed April 8th through the 13th, 2018 as Crime Victims' Rights Week in Kern County. And this recognition has been entered into the official board minutes signed by our Honorable Chairman, Mike Maggart, stated today, March 20th, 2018. Lisa.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Maggart, members of the board. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to just mention the Victims' Rights Week and the Victims' March, which is 3 weeks from today, April 10th at 5 o'clock. I brought with me my Victim Services Director, Linda Finnerty. We also have the Undersheriff, Brian Wheeler, here, and Chief Shelley Castaneda, who they're often at the march. It begins at the Liberty Bell at 5 o'clock, a few speakers, and then we walk to Mill Creek Park. It's really an uplifting event, and one of the reasons we wanted to do the proclamation is to let the public know the public is welcome. You don't have to be a victim of crime. You don't have to have a family member who's a victim of crime. But I think that I'm safe in saying that we all support crime victims. Hopefully that will never touch any one of us, but the truth is that it touches so many people every day. So the public is invited to this event. It's an uplifting event, and I want to thank you for this opportunity to just get the word out, and anybody and everybody's welcome. So thank you so much.
So I just want to confirm that the march is Tuesday, April 10, 5 p.m., and you meet where?
At the Liberty Bell.
At the Liberty Bell.
1415 Truxton.
And you walk to Mill Creek Park.
Yes, it's a little less than a mile, and it's not a race. I'm usually bringing up the rear, so
okay.
We welcome everybody to come, whether you're a crime victim or not.
Very good.
Thank you.
Supervisor Gleason is going to do the heavy lifting this morning. He's going to present three proclamations, items 5, 6, and 7 on our agenda. We're going to vote on them all at once. Item number 5 is a proclamation proclaiming April 2018 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Item 6 is a proclamation proclaiming March 19 through 25 as Women's Military History Week. And item number 7 is a proclamation proclaiming March 30, 2018 as Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day.
Motion on 3 proclamations.
Second.
Please cast your votes. Thank you, Supervisor.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Scrivener.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kicking us off is going to be a recognition of Child Abuse Prevention Month in Kern County. Every child is precious, and here in Kern County we are working hard to ensure every child is raised in a safe environment. One of the most important factors in providing a safe environment for our children is the prevention of child abuse. In order to bring additional awareness to this cause, we will be recognizing April as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Kern County. This month and throughout the year, the Department of Human Services will partner with Kern County Network for Children, numerous committed agencies, parents, relatives, volunteers, public policy makers, and professionals to work together to improve child safety and to prevent child abuse in Kern County. Child Abuse Prevention Month is an opportunity to promote community awareness of the serious problem of child abuse and to ensure positive actions needed to stop preventable harm to children. Everybody has a part to play in helping to prevent child abuse, and we will need the entire Kern County community to help prevent even a single child from being abused. Together, we can make Kern County a safe place for all children, a place where no child will suffer from abuse. There is reason to be optimistic. Our efforts have already made a significant difference in the lives of thousands of children here in Kern County. The county's child abuse rate has dropped from 2.2% of our children in 2008 to 1.4% in 2016. However, 1.4% is still too high, and tragically, 6 children died in 2017 as a result of child abuse. Our goal this year and every year is to get those numbers to 0 so that no child may suffer from abuse. Therefore, it is my honor, on behalf of the Kern County Board of Supervisors, to proclaim April 2018 as Child Abuse Awareness Month in Kern County. I have with me Ms. Dina Murphy. I'll present this proclamation to you and give you the microphone and have your way with it. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Supervisor Gleason. Chairman Maggard, members of the board, Dina Murphy, your department head for Human Services. Thank you so much for proclaiming the month of April as Child Abuse Prevention Month. I'd first like to acknowledge my esteemed colleagues who are joining me. We have Tom Corson, who's the Executive Director of Kern County Network for Children, Under Sheriff Wingert and Chief Deputy Shelley Castaneda, Fire Chief Brian Marshall, District Attorney Lisa Green, Public Health Director Matt Constantine, Behavioral Health and Resources Services Director Bill Walker. DHS, along with our partners, represent a collaborative of individuals and organizations that are committed to improving and strengthening families in our community. And historically, the month of April, we highlight some of the efforts that we make to try to strengthen families. And some of those efforts are offering, excuse me, parents access to quality child care, affordable health care, parenting education and resources, assistance with employment services, and access to substance abuse and mental health programs. As we continue to focus on this month, our ask is asking the community to report suspected child abuse. If you feel a child is in trouble, make the call. Tragically, as Supervisor Gleason shared with you in 2017, we lost 6 little ones. Their ages were 3 months to 1 year. Now, I say this each year. Each year we're facing this with these little infants who aren't old enough to be in a school setting yet. They aren't around mandated reporters. So those little ones who are in those environments and they're just too young to be out in public really rely upon grandparents, aunts and uncles, neighbors, church family, every one of us that has the ability to pay attention to changes or some risk factors that appear in the family. And some of those concerns might include alcohol use, stress on a job loss, isolation, anger, mental health issues, personality changes. So if you see any of those indicators and you feel that something is wrong, give us a chance to put our eyes on that baby. During this month, we'll be joined by agencies across the nation where we'll hold a Children's Memorial flag raising. It will be held for us on Friday, April 6th at 8:30 a.m. at our building on California Avenue. And since poverty is one of the best predictors of abuse, Tom Corson has pulled in Dr. Donna Beagle on April 26th. So the Network for Children is putting on her call to action to see poverty and make a difference. And if you've never seen Dr. Beagle in action, you are invited to attend this. It's incredible and it's very insightful. Additionally, we've invited local churches again to participate in Blue Sunday with us, and that will be held on the 29th of April. They take the time to pray for our little victims and pray for all of the first responders and this incredible team behind me that try to help protect children on a daily basis. We thank you for this proclamation and taking the time to bring awareness to this very serious issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Matt, don't go anywhere. We need a picture. Squish in. Everybody be buddies. Dang it, I almost got it. Yeah. Good job, everybody. Thank you very much. Tommy, good job. Moving right along. Oh, women's military. That's a good one. We have with us an Air Force vet, Airman First Class Janine Wakes. Janine wearing her red ribbon, symbolizing Rosie the River. Is that what they're kind of like? Is your honor? Yeah, why not? Why not? Red, white, and blue. You're looking good. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to have you here, and it's an honor to take a moment to recognize the valuable contributions that people make to this military service we have. It's transformed in so many ways over the years. There was the first woman to serve in the military was a young lady by the name of Deborah Sampson from Massachusetts, great state of Massachusetts, who disguised herself as a man and went in and served in the Revolutionary War, and we've come a long way, haven't we? Yes. It's remarkable the contributions women have made to our nation's security, and it continues to grow in importance in its footprint, and it is sincerely appreciated by all of us in the country. We all benefit from their contributions. The Women's Armed Services Integration Act of 1948 made women who formerly served only as auxiliaries in times of war, a permanent part of our armed forces. Today, women fulfill nearly all the duties that were once exclusive domain of men in the American military. In addition to women who served in our military, important contributions were made by civilian women in World War II. Serving as Rosie the Riveters, over 6 million women worked in industrial jobs which ensured American output that helped win World War II. Which brings me to a point that I wanted to make sure I address today, which is the contributions of the military. The military is a family enterprise. It's not just the person in uniform serving in the foxhole in Iraq or Afghanistan today. It is the whole support system that is involved in making sure that that person is successful. And all the wives, moms, daughters, and everybody who has shown their support and dedicated their lives to this support need to be thanked and recognized for their valuable contributions to our armed services. My wife, for example, spent years traveling around, not knowing anybody, no support group at all, raising 3 kids while I was dancing and prancing someplace in the Middle East. She was hard at work taking care of all the chores that the family needed to do, and she did it nobly and honorably, and there are millions of women, spouses, and people like that who do that on a daily basis that don't go and receive the recognition that they truly deserve. So, Airman First Class, you've done a wonderful job serving in KC-135s. We appreciate your service. We appreciate who you represent today. And we'd like to hear from Dick to talk a little bit more about the valuable contributions of women in our military. Dick, this is to you.
Mr. Taylor.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Supervisor Gleason and Chairman Maggard and honorable board members. Thank you for this recognition of this incredible contribution that women in our country make to the military. And Janine and I worked together for a number of years and served our country in the Air Force honorably, served over to Edwards Air Force Base at one point in her career. But hers is just an example of many families, you know, where they have a spouse at home, her husband, but her family has a heritage of serving. Her mom served during the Vietnam War. Her mom was honored a few years ago up at the state capitol during this week for her service during that time in the medical field, also in the Air Force. And Janine served many years for this county as a veteran service rep and as a supervising veteran service representative. And her family has just a long history of service, and they continue to put service above self. And even today, Janine's son is serving in the United States Coast Guard. And so, and I think that's an example that no doubt came from Janine and women like her, and we're far better off in this nation. You know, and Janine was mortified that I was going to drag her down here this morning because she doesn't like to make a big deal about her service. That's not why she served. She didn't serve for the accolades, but we all have family members, and for all those in our audience that had family members in the military that were women and that are out there and listening today, we salute you. So my hat's off to you, and we salute you and thank you for the honor that you bring to our community. Thanks. Want to get a picture? Want to get a picture? Bring about a face, right?
Okay. Good morning, Janine. Would you like to say anything?
No.
No. Okay.
Oh, you don't go far. Okay.
I respect that. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Janine. Despite her being in the Air Force, but still. Another great military moment here for Kern County, and significant in its in the way Kern County contributes to our national security is grossly understated in Kern County. We don't understand fully and comprehend the valuable contributions Kern County makes to our military and the security of our nation. I have with me John, who gave us the honor of leading us in the pledge. John is a Vietnam vet. He is a Lance Corporal, which is a person who does the heavy lifting, the person who is getting his hands dirty and doing the work required to actually move Marine Corps in a direction that people need to have moved. John is indicative of the kind of person that makes those things happen. John, thank you for your service. On September 11, 2009, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger signed into a law establishing March 30 as the Welcome Home Vietnam's Veterans Day, which coincides with March 30th, 1973, when the last U.S. troops left Vietnam. The Vietnam was a politicized war that still evokes strong feelings among veterans and those who disagreed with U.S. foreign policy. Unfortunately, many of the heroic achievements in the honorable service of the warrior were overlooked, and they were never thanked for performing historically to preserve the freedoms that we have today. We must never let this happen again, and we don't. During this war, over 58,000 lives were lost, including 142 Kern County citizens who were killed in action and many more that were physically and emotionally wounded. The Vietnam War is a story of service members of different backgrounds, colors, creeds, who came together to complete a daunting mission. It is a story of patriots who braved the line of fire, who cast themselves into harm's way to save a friend, who fought hour after hour, day after day to preserve the liberties we cherish so dearly. Our nation stands stronger for their service. And on Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day, we honor their proud legacy with our deepest gratitude. On Friday, March 30, 2018, at 10 a.m., the Kern County Veterans Service Department will be conducting a Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day celebration at their office at 1120 Golden State Avenue in Bakersfield. I'm sure Dick's going to talk about that. A brief ceremony commemorating their service, presentation of colors, and singing the national anthem will be followed by remarks by Sheriff Donna Youngblood, U.S. Army Vietnam veteran. The public is invited. John, thank you very much for your service. You are sincerely appreciated today, and you represent such a magnificent group of people who dedicated so much and gave so much for our country. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you, Supervisor Gleason and Chairman Maggard and honorable board members. And again, what an honor it is to be in the presence of men like John Ramirez. He and his brother were Bakersfield High School graduates. Right after that, went off to Vietnam. At the time, believe it or not, at one point in time, he was a 17, 18, 19-year-old young man, and off he went to the jungles of Vietnam. And so a few years ago, we started holding this Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day at our office. And it's a great opportunity for the public to come out. And we're doing it rain or shine, because I'll guarantee you, when it was raining in the highlands of Vietnam, John didn't get to say, "Hey, Sarge, I don't think we're going to go out today." No, you're out there, and it's raining like mad, and you're walking around in the red clay mud and the rice paddies, and you're not knowing if you're going to make it home. You watch some of your buddies get killed. And so also, I think one of the things that we do on that day, and we do every day, and that we represent, whether it be us as Marine Corps brothers or veterans, that we represent those that aren't here, those that didn't make it back. And they would be proud to know that we are carrying on their legacy, and men like John and his family that continue to serve are doing that. So last year we had Joe Drew, who many of you know was our speaker, Vietnam helicopter pilot, served in the Army and got ice water that flows through his veins, I swear. But he's just a phenomenal man. But we'd planned on having about 150 people. We had 300 show up. And this year, now that we expect probably there will be even more. So we have a speaker, we'll have the sheriff's office will be there. They'll have a color guard. The Kern County Fire Department will have the big garrison flag there. And they were very supportive of whether they be a county family of employees or family members. It is just what a phenomenal community we live in to be able to recognize and honor our Vietnam veterans. So once again, public's invited. That is Friday, March 30th at 10 a.m. at the Kern County Veterans Service Department, right across the street from El Sombrero Restaurant on Golden State. And we'll have some food there as well. So we hope you can join us. And if anybody has any questions, they can call our office at 868-7300. And again, I wanted to thank John Ramirez for coming down this morning. I want to thank him. A year or so ago, we were standing about this same time of the year. We were standing in front of the Iwo Jima Marine Corps War Memorial in Washington, D.C. together. And that was a good time. Yeah. So thank you again for the recognition for these fine men and women that served, and we appreciate everything you do to support our veterans.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. I just want to thank Kern County. I mean, I lived here all my life. I'm 71 years old now, and I know it's taking a while to be recognized. I hold no grudges. I mean, you know, my brother passed away already. He was in Vietnam at the same time with me. And I have my other brother, Art, that's still with me. But I say, you know, it's hard to accept thank yous because I don't know how to, you know, acknowledge that part. I always say thank you back instead of saying welcome because, you know, it's something different. Like I said, we didn't get it when we got back. And it was kind of hard for a lot of the guys that kind of closed up on everything, you know. But I appreciate today.
John, on behalf of all of Kern County, you stand before us representing all of our Vietnam veterans. We want to say welcome home. Thank you for your service, and we're glad you're with us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Sometimes our presentations give us goosebumps. We're next going to, thank you, Supervisor Gleason, for doing that. We're next going to go to item number 13 on our agenda, which is an opportunity for the public to make comments to us this morning about any item that is not otherwise on our agenda. We allow 2 minutes per person to be able to bring these items to our attention, and we welcome anyone to the microphone who would like to discuss, again, items that are not otherwise on our agenda this morning. So who would like to go first? Good morning, sir. Good morning. Could you give us your name for the record, please?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Maggard, and the members of the board. My name is Gilbert Alvarado. I live in the city of Chapter, and I'm currently a city council member there. I'm here this morning because of the topic that was brought up about new boundaries and redistricting has been mentioned, and just personally would like to see this topic to be put on public hearing for public input, and to see the northern part of Kern County, referring to Delano, McFarland, Wasco, and Chapter, to be given the opportunity to give input and recommendations. Being it's going to affect the 4 cities in one manner or another, and also, as a man of faith, Proverbs 21:3 tells us, to do what is right and just is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. And thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board.
Thank you, Councilmember Alvarado. Who would like to be next? Mr. Mayor, could you give us your name for the record?
Good morning, Supervisor Maggard, Chairman and Supervisors. Gilbert Reyna, I'm the mayor of Wasco, and I'm here to talk about redistricting as well. I'll be brief, but I'll tell you what I know. And I read, of course, that Maldev brought a lawsuit which the Board of Supervisors lost. And I also know that you have been enjoined by the judge to find an agreement, or yes, come to an agreement with Maldev, I believe by the 28th of March. I don't know where you stand on that at this point. But I'm here to ask you that you consider coming to an agreement and that you consider redistricting this year, that you do not wait. I've read that you are considering waiting until 2020. I think that would be too long. Redistricting is important. I think that would give the northwest communities an ability to elect somebody of their choosing who will represent them at the Board of Supervisors. So I'm asking that you do that. And I'm also asking that you do this on open sessions so that interested people may be able to give input. So if you would consider that, we would be eternally appreciative of your consideration, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, sir. Would anybody else like to speak? Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of Supervisors. My name is Orchel Cryer. I'm a city councilman for the city of Taft. And I'm here with concerns of the redistricting of all our supervisory districts. David Couch is our supervisor in Taft. He has done an excellent job representing all of our citizens, including the Hispanics. We don't want to lose David as our supervisor. All I ask that we have an open hearing, no closed door deals. We need a supervisory open meeting sunshine law, excuse me. Redistricting of our district before it goes before the judge for a final ruling is really important because for our area on the west side, we have a unique deal with the oil industry, and David knows a lot of things about our city and the west side. And I think that we deserve a chance to have an open hearing to hear, not after the fact, but at least have a fighting chance to save our supervisor. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you? Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the County Board of Supervisors. Mick, how are you, sir? Good. My name is Joe Gary. I'm the city council member for the city of Delano. And so Delano is the second largest city in Kern County. And we are very passionate and very interested in the outcome of the redrawing of Northern Kern County. And so I am here speaking on behalf of the city of Delano, asking that when these discussions are taking place, it would be very interesting to see those discussions take place in open session so that you can get a forum of discussion among the elected officials of Northern Kern County, since the subject matter is Northern Kern County. And so there are many issues in redistricting all the areas of Kern County, but at this moment, at this second, at this time, the courts are in discussion of Northern Kern County. And so it would be a very good situation if we were to make Northern Kern County a priority in 2018 so that we can resolve these issues once and for all. And just like the gentleman that was here before me, Mick Leeson has done an outstanding job representing our district. But at the end of the day, it is an oversized district. It is a district that encompasses almost a 2-hour drive from his front door to my front door in Delano. And it's very challenging to be an effective supervisor, something that he's inherited. And so here's our opportunity to fix it. The courts are encouraging it. Delano stands behind it. And I'm here to ask you to give us an opportunity to be heard, along with the other officials that are here today and the other officials that have emailed the county clerk overnight. And so give us that opportunity to participate in this incredible opportunity to make this change that's long overdue. Thank you so very much, and God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you, Joe. But I don't know how fast you drive. It takes me 2.5 hours to get from my house to your door.
No, I obey the speed law.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure about that, Joe.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Juanita Chavez, and I'm here to make comment on behalf of the Executive Director of the Dolores Huerta Foundation, Camila Chavez. And we just want to please urge the board to work with MALDEF to draft new maps in time for the November elections. As we showed you at the last meeting, our team came up with more fair maps in about a day. So it's not that complicated that it cannot be done by the November elections. We urge you to please not appeal this decision and waste taxpayers' money in the lawsuit that would follow. We would like you to please make this all happen as soon as possible. We will not stand by and continue just to watch and do nothing while illegal elections are occurring. As Camila Chavez said last time, justice delayed is justice denied. So we please implore you to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak this morning? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Garrison Murado, and unfortunately I don't have any titles to cite or organizations to represent, but perhaps that's a good thing. Because in the eyes of the founder, I represent one of the most important groups of people there are, which is the voters. A citizen of the county who votes every 4 years, Mr. Gleason's district, very happy to be in it. And I'm here to say that I believe that any redistricting should take place in the public forum. The purpose of the districts is to best represent the individual needs of that region within our county, and I believe that those people should have the opportunity to see how the proceedings are done in public and how those lines are going to be redrawn. So I believe those should be public presentations and not behind closed doors. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask, did you say your name? I think I missed it. Excuse me, Chairman.
Garrison Murado.
You're a student or a...
Yes, junior at Cal State Bakersfield.
Wow.
Yeah. Garrison Murado.
M-O-R-A-D-O?
A-T-T-O. Yeah.
A-T-T-O, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Garrison. Okay, I don't see anybody else rising, so we'll close the opportunity for the public to make comment at this morning's meeting and return to the board. Now, board members, do you have any announcements or reports that you would like to make?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Couch, Supervisor Couch.
I just want to thank the speakers that came today. I find myself in agreement with what you're saying, and our own, I've forgotten the term for it. It's was it a status report that each side, each attorney's side, Mr. Nations submitted something to the court. It's called a status report, where we, I think on page 1 of our status report, it lays out a timeline for public hearings. Is it called the status report? Do I have that? Okay. Has there been any action taken on that? Or we submitted one and MALDEV attorneys submitted one? What is the status of the status reports, I guess?
The status of the status reports, we have been ordered by the court to participate in a mandatory settlement conference. Okay.
The problem that I think that I have anyway with the way we're proceeding is that, and I understand that the court has asked us to meet with MALDEF, but I think we should take whatever types of maps that we are contemplating, and those should be made public. We have a week. The meeting is a week from tomorrow, and we could at least get some sense from the public if they could see those, what they might prefer before we go into that particular meeting. We do not have a meeting, a Board of Supervisors meeting next Tuesday, a week from today. We could call a special meeting so that we could consider that public input, whatever we received during the week, we could do that a week from today. I don't know if everyone's available for something like that. I would make myself available. I would also make myself available to, I don't know if a public hearing is the right word because there are noticing requirements, but at a minimum we could have some workshops where we could show the different possibilities and let the public, elected officials that might be interested in making some sort of plans themselves and how it may affect the communities and the people that they represent, allow them a chance to weigh in on behalf of their city and on behalf of their constituents. So my suggestion to the board, I have no idea how they're going to feel about that, is that we take this week and we do our best to reach out into our own districts, have some sort of public workshop, some sort of public hearings, gain some sort of input, schedule a special meeting for Tuesday, one item, which is just to get a report on what we heard throughout the county, and use that public input for what it is intended for, and that is to help us, at least give us some options and some thoughts that we should consider before we go to the, and I don't know what the name of this is either, Mr. Nations. What is the name of the meeting that will be held a week from today? Is it a remediation
What
settlement?
would be the name of the meeting that you want to hold a week from today?
No, a week from tomorrow.
It's a mandatory settlement conference.
Mandatory settlement. If we could at least have some sort of input from the public before we go to the mandatory settlement conference, I think that is, to me, it is preferable. But for us to, I wouldn't even say preferable, it's much stronger than preferable. For us to go to a mandatory settlement conference with some sort of map or maps in mind that the public hasn't even seen yet, and then go and have public hearings after that, I think defeats the purpose of the public hearings. Otherwise, we're just showing people what we've already decided, and we're sort of informing them of this decision that's been made. And I think the public hearing process in our own status report is to gain public input and have public hearings or gain the input at the public hearings. So that is my position. That is where I'm coming from. I appreciate the speakers here today, and I'm hopeful that we do exactly that. I'm going to make myself available to do that, at least here in this boardroom, and probably in the southwest part of the 4th District and the northwest part of the 4th District, so that people don't have to travel as far And we can talk more about the logistics of how we could show the different possible maps and how we could move lines and see what type of impact it has on population and demographics and those types of things at those types of public meetings. I may have more to say this afternoon, but that's the comment that I have for now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, Chairman. Can you explain, Mr. Nations, I thought I read, and I thought you told us that if we do not have a plan in place or some agreement on the 27th, that the judge is going to impose an order, and then we will be living under that order, whatever that is and looks like. Is that correct?
Yes, Judge Droz told us at the March 6th meeting that if we did not reach agreement on the 28th, that he would issue an order basically canceling the June primary, ordering the county to engage in an abbreviated public process for the development of a map. The map would then be presented to the court, and if the court were to consider the map inadequate, then he would impose a map.
So, Mr. Nations, what are our options now to address a very legitimate issue raised by Supervisor Couch, as well as members of the public, to receive some public input? Is it the case that, thank you, Supervisor, that the court thinks that we have had public input, that we have received public input? Because frankly, I was a little surprised at the judge's timeline and how quickly he appears to be moving on imposing an order, given the importance of public input.
The court does not believe that we've had a chance for public input. He knows that that has not occurred. He simply ordered that if we cannot reach agreement with MALDEF, with or without public comment, he would then issue an order directing us on what we are to do next.
I see. Mr. Nations, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments by board members about any matter this morning?
Oh, I one other, Mr. Chairman. Just a question of, if the board decided that we wanted to pursue some sort of public hearing or workshop during this week, and if we wanted to have a special Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday, a week from today, to consider that public, at least that abbreviated amount of public input, what would we have to do in order to put those meetings in place? And when would we have to do that by?
It's simply a matter of noticing the meeting. You have to give 72 hours.
For a special meeting, is it
a special meeting, 24 hours in advance notice for the public. As far as the workshops go, those really aren't so much governed by the Brown Act, since you would not have a majority of board members present at the workshops. So in terms of setting a special meeting for the Board of Supervisors, you would simply need to notice that 24 hours in advance.
But there wouldn't be any requirement for noticing of the workshops per se?
No.
Thank you.
Okay. I want to make sure we have our opportunity for anybody else to say anything that wants to before we go on. Nope. Okay. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, members, for that. Next up on our agenda is, and thank you for coming this morning. We're in a difficult spot trying to comply with the judge's order, and I don't know how that's going to be resolved yet, but we will try to do it responsibly. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Item number 22 is a proposed addition of one behavioral health supervisor in that behavioral health department. Good morning, Mr. Walker.
Good morning, Bill Walker. As you can tell, a young CSUB student, or your current Behavioral Health and Recovery Services Director. Before we started, we had Dr. Jonah's proclamation, and I always like reading, that there are people who are off consent or on consent, and there were two other people on consent this morning. One of them from the District Attorney's Office with 27 years, Susan Anderson, and Barbara Ansalabiher, 35 years, altogether 91 years. And I was sitting next to the probation chief and said, so 35 years and she's not here. And he said, you know, she's one of those, because she works right down the hall from me, because she's a great employee, one of those super hardworking people that we're all so proud of, but doesn't make a ruckus. And so even at her 35 years, she didn't come down here for the proclamation and is probably sitting in her office right now working hard. And so I wanted to kind of flavor that back in. This morning, Behavioral Health and Recovery Services is requesting an adjustment to its staffing pattern with the addition of 1 full-time Behavioral Health Unit Supervisor 2 position, 5 full-time Behavioral Health Therapist 2 positions, 6 full-time Behavioral Health Recovery Specialist 3 positions, 6 full-time Vocational Nurse 2 positions, 2 full-time Medical Assistant positions, and 1 full-time Office Services Technician position in Budget Unit 4120, effective March 20th, 2018. The proposed staffing additions will result in a cost to the department of $614,170 in the current fiscal year and an annualized amount of $2,456,676. The annual cost is a combination of $556,676 $1,000 of realignment revenue and $1.9 million of general fund. Behavioral Health and Recovery Services is requesting these positions specifically to staff the Kern Justice Facility. The new Justice Facility is designed to allow for the delivery of behavioral health treatment and rehabilitation services. The County Administrative Office concurs with this request, and I wanted to point out that in the title it referred to this as a non-budgeted item, but in fact, if you recall, going back to the days of CAO John Nylon, this was an item that was assigned pending the construction of the facility in contingency, and so now that the facility is opening this fiscal year, we're moving forward. Therefore, it is recommended that the board approve the proposed additions effective March 20th, 2018, and refer to Human Resources to amend departmental positions and salary schedule. And I am happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, I'd like you to answer a couple questions, then I'll go to the CAO just to kind of preface this. There's a significant general fund consequence to this, but I think there's more to the story about what those general fund dollars represent. Could you please walk us through that?
Certainly. When the Kern Justice Facility was being developed, the Sheriff's Office, first I would say that the services within a jail system, whether it's city, county, federal, or state, are not actually under the mandate of the mental health plan. They are completely separate. So each county determines how it's going to develop services within a locked facility. That being said, in our county, we already have a team of over 30 mental health staff funded through AB 109 and realignment funds. And in addition to that, we have added our AT&T services and our gateway services to do transition services out of the locked facilities. When the desire to build a new facility came up, the negotiation was that that would come through the general fund. The $1.9 million was assigned for this project, I think at least 2 fiscal years ago, and then has rolled over every year when they do the budget review on the screens of the PowerPoints that you receive. The additional funds of realignment that have been dropped into this is because as we've reviewed what we really think we need to do to provide greater services, we've added additional realignment funds on top of the $1.9 million general fund commitment so that we're actually going to provide more services than was originally planned. And I'm not sure if that answers the question specifically, and I'd be happy to try to answer it better if you have further questions.
Thank you. Let's take a shot at having the CEO's office answer the question. I believe the CEO's office is in concurrence with this recommendation, but there's a significant general fund consequence. Could somebody from the CEO's office walk us through that?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Elsa Martinez with the CEO's office. When the facility was approved for construction, your board approved a staffing plan that was submitted to the state. In that staffing plan, we included both medical staffing and behavioral health staffing. Originally, the cost estimate was about $1.9 million. We included that amount in the 17-18 budget, knowing that the facility was going to be completed this fiscal year. Behavioral health, after the jail was completed, identified the need for additional staffing, and we only have budgeted the $1.9 million. So through, Mr. Walker concurrence, he agreed to redirect some realignment funds that he could use some other place, but instead assist the general fund by using some of those realignment funds. Again, the $1.9 million, it's a commitment from the general fund that your board made when you approved the construction of the jail.
So that's no different than it's been since the outset.
Correct.
Very good, thank you. Supervisor Perez. Was that for
Chairman,
the
that was
last
from
item?
last round.
I apologize. Thank you. Okay, let's go to the public. Then, do any members of the public wish to make comment to us this morning regarding this matter? I don't see anyone, so we'll return to the board. Members, colleagues, do you have any questions, or would you like to make a motion or a discussion?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Scrivener.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Item number 34, as I mentioned earlier, was withdrawn from this morning's agenda, so that concludes our morning agenda this morning. We have a number of items to take up in closed session. So could I have a motion, please, to adjourn to closed session? Thank you, by Supervisor Gleason. Without objection, so ordered. We'll see you back at 2 o'clock. Thank you.